Hi, my name is Beth, and I am a programming assistant for the St. Johns County Public Library System, and you're watching In the Bubble with Beth, a weekly series that I'm doing as part of the St. Johns County Public Library System's Best Summer Ever Summer Reading Contest on the Read Squared app. So welcome. We are going to be working on watermelon piñatas this week. Okay, so to make a watermelon piñata, we are going to need a piece of cardboard that's big enough to cut out a triangle on two sides. So this is kind of a thin box that I had laying around, so I'm going to use that. We are going to need some tape to construct our piñata shape. We'll need some scissors. I might possibly need a X-Acto knife at some point. Can't remember. We'll find out as we go along. And some glue. And you're going to need crepe paper. So I've got pink, and I've got a bright green and a dark green. Now this is slightly different than the rolls. I've actually never bought this before. I got this from a party supply store, and it came in these 50 centimeter by 2.5 meter rolls, and I wasn't paying attention actually. I just saw the colors and went for them. It came, so the roll has these lines already marked on here. At first I was excited because I thought, oh wow, I can just cover the whole thing, but really you need the fringe. So this might actually end up being a bit of extra work. You might want to just look for the traditional rolls. It might be a little bit easier, so you don't have to cut the lengths as well. But we'll see. But anyway, you want the pink for the watermelon fruit, and then the two colors of green for the rind. I'm also just going to use black construction paper to make the seeds. I went ahead and already cut out, I just drew little teardrop shapes for the seeds. I'm not sure how many I need. I guessed about 30 something, but I've got some extra paper just in case. I think that's pretty much all we're going to need. Of course, you want some candy to stuff it with at the end and some string to hang it up. And let me just talk about some resources that the St. Johns County Public Library System has that might inspire you with projects like this, and for having parties in general. And then we'll get started. Here are some books that you might be interested in from the St. Johns County Public Library System if you are going to be having a barbecue or any kind of summer party. There's Fruitful, 4 Seasons of Fresh Fruit Recipes, Texas Eats, the new Lone Star Heritage Cookbook, How to Grill Everything by Mark Bittman, Essentially Lily, a guide to colorful entertaining, Lily Pulitzer's very Florida summer, and finally Julia Reads South, spirited entertaining and high style fun all year long. Okay, so the first step is you want to draw a triangle to be your slice of watermelon on your first piece of cardboard. Now remember that your cardboard needs to be equal lengths, your two different pieces. When I first started to draw it out, I was going to go all the way to the top, but I realized, oh, this is only on one side of the box. This side doesn't have that extra flap. So I've shortened my triangle so that it's just the top to the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that out with my scissors and then trace it out onto the other piece of cardboard and cut that out so that I've got two equal triangles. Our next step is connecting the two triangles to one another through making cardboard sides that we're going to just kind of fold and tape together, and that way we make a three-dimensional piece. So you're going to want to cut 3 long pieces of cardboard to fit along each of the sides of the triangle. They're probably about 5 or 6 inches thick. And we're just basically going to be taping and folding. I'm gonna press pause so that I can do a side and show you what I mean. What I've done is I took my first triangle and I took the first side and I just taped it flat onto it all the way down. When I got to the end, it was a little bit longer, so I just trimmed the bottom off so that it was even. And I flipped it over and I taped it on that side as well. So now I'm taking my second piece and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tape it all the way down, and when I get down here, actually I have it even down here at the bottom, but when it's all said and done, right here it's hanging over a little bit, so I'll trim that so that I keep my triangle piece. But I just wanted you to see this part. When I finish taping and I trim that piece off and I start to fold for the next triangle, I'll show you where I'm at. So I just wanted to pause and let you see. Okay, so I have now taped up the first side, or two sides of one half of the triangle. I've taped it all the way on both sides, and now I'm just going to start kind of pre-bending, because basically I'm going to be taking my other triangle, laying it on top, and bending this over to meet it, to make it three-dimensional. So to make that easier, I've begun pre-bending it just so that the cardboard gets supple, and you'll want to do this on both sides. And then in order to get this started, it's a little hard to just do it up in the air. I have found that if you put a little pillow or something there, you can lay your second side on top of it, and then actually it's probably easier if I'm going to refer to this as the front and back, and these are the sides. So I'm going to lay the front on top and move the sides over and just start taping, and I'll do that all the way up this side, and then move over and do it the same on this side, and we'll pause, and I'll show you what to do from there. Okay, so I've taped one side of one side to the front and back of the triangle pieces, and I was about to start doing this side, and I realized, wait a second, I've got to secure how this is going to hang. So I've taken my string and I tied a knot, and I'm just going to tape my knot up here to the top of the triangle, and then I'll tape this part down here also, and that way it's going to be secure when you go to hang it. It'll just be easier. So once I've done that, then I'll go ahead and close this, and then close this side. So let me just go ahead and grab some tape. Okay, so we've got my rope. I'm gonna fold this over and fold this side. I've been having to kind of cut as I've gone along, because my pieces were odd sized, and you'll see as you're doing it, it's a little frustrating, but you just kind of have to just keep cutting it. I've gone ahead and cut some diagonals down here at the bottom. So once I've got this side secure, I'm going to go ahead and put my candy on the inside, and then I'll pull this part down. So you can always, if you didn't put your candy in now, you could always go in later and, you know, cut a hole into the back of the piñata and put the candy in then. But if you're already thinking about it, it's just the easiest time to do it when you've got it almost completely taped up, but not quite. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep taping, and we'll come back. Okay, I just wanted to show you, I've got this side all taped, this side all taped. You can see, it's kind of dark, but that's where the rope is at the top. So this is the point where I would throw my candy in, and then take my final piece of cardboard and tape it up. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get to the fun part, which is putting the crepe paper on to make it actually look like a watermelon. At this point, it could be anything. You could make a sailboat piñata. You could make a piece of pizza piñata, but we're going to make watermelon, so stay tuned. Okay, and ta-da! We have a 3D piece of watermelon, or it's getting there that way anyway. So it's all taped around. It's maybe not the prettiest thing, but it's all going to be covered up with pretty crepe paper. So what I'm going to do, since I have this sheet kind of crepe paper, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out a piece that fits the bottom and glue it to the bottom. If you had the regular roll crepe paper, then you would use strips and just glue them to overlap. We start with the bottom and move all the way to the top, because the top is the most important piece. You want it to end so that you can cover up. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this bottom piece, and then I'm going to cut this crepe paper into strips so that it would be like a regular roll, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've glued a piece of green on the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's, hanging off the sides a little bit. That's okay. It's all going to get covered with the fringe. You just want a nice solid green for the bottom if it's swinging up, or if you're doing a photo shoot or something. So there's that. And so I've been taking my strips of green and just cutting fringe. Try to leave at least a thumb's worth up top. There's a couple spots like right here where I got a little too enthusiastic as I was cutting, and that becomes a little fragile when you start to glue it and you're moving it. It's not the end of the world if it breaks off, but then you do have to glue over it. So just to kind of keep your sanity, try to keep at least a little width at the top, because that's what you're going to be using to glue. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this row of fringe. So I just did my last cut, and now we're going to start gluing. So take my glue, and I'll just run it along the top. I'm just going to do a little bit at once, maybe a little bit more than that. Try to get that whole side going. Oops. And I'm going to try to put this as close to the bottom as I can so that it covers up that corner where the tape is. do this all the way around. It might actually be easier to put the glue on the cardboard, so I'll try that. And then maybe just put a little bit extra here, oops, on the, try that again. And it's okay if there's a little bit showing through because we're gonna have layers of fringe going. Just keep pressing. I think I actually liked it better on the actual crepe paper. It seems to hold better. So just do a section. And we'll come back and worry about that corner in a little while. And then just keep going. Make up. So I'm just gonna kind of overlap it a little bit. And it'll all be okay. Oops. And just kind of tamper down on it with your fingers every now and then, make sure it's actually sticking. I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit longer, just so that it overlaps nicely. And take my scissors. And I'll go ahead and cut that off. I'm gonna save this piece for a different spot. Okay, so that's layer one. And you can see, we can still see some of that part of the box where it was taped there, but that's okay because we're gonna do another layer just right on top, do the exact same thing. To move on to our second layer, and you'll see that it covers it up. So you just kind of, you put each layer on halfway on top of the last one. So right about there, and we'll just keep gluing the dark green. I'll probably do 3, maybe 4 layers of the dark green, and then I'm going to take the lime green and the pink and do the same thing. So it's kind of a lot when you're sitting there cutting all this fringe, but if you think of it as a mindfulness experience and just get into the moment, it's really not so bad. And so we'll do 3 or 4 of the dark green, probably 1 or 2 of the lime green, and then the rest of it will be pink. So I'm going to keep going, and when I get to the very top, I'll come back and we can film that piece so that you can see how we end it. And then we'll add the seeds and we'll be good to go. Okay, so we're getting near the end. And we've got this spot up here at the top left to do. So I've cut these pieces and I've put some glue on them, and I'm just going to put them on the top because I'm just trying to make sure that this top piece gets covered. It's going to, don't worry that it's kind of jaggedy looking here because we're going to put more fringe to cover this, but this will just ensure that you don't have any cardboard showing at the very top. Oops, I see my kitty cat Beatrice. Okay. Oops. Dripping glue there. That's okay. Oh, it's hard to film and do. Okay, so I'm just going to keep pushing that down, and then I'm going to do more fringe all the way to the top, all the way around, and then we'll glue on our seeds. So we have finished doing the whole pink part. You can see it goes all the way around, even underneath the little rope. So now I'm just gonna lay it down. You can see it's pretty cute, but we still have to put our seeds on. So like I had said earlier, I've already cut out some teardrop black seeds, so I'm just gonna lay them on there, glue them on here all the way around, and voila, we have one watermelon piñata. It was definitely time consuming. It's an easy process, but it's time consuming. So if you can wrangle people who are in your quarantine bubble with you to help you, I would say do it. And now the secret word for the Best Summer Ever Read Squared app. This week's secret word is Best Summer 02. Best Summer 02. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you soon at the library.